I brought up Creighton basketball. That's the other main beat that you're on here for Hurrdat Sports. I know you do a ton of other stuff with CBS Sports, and you get to do some really cool stuff on television too. But I do want to bring up Creighton basketball because they don't have a new head coach, but they will soon, and they have an almost entirely new roster this year, which is first of all, let's start with the Huss of it all, right? Yeah. There was kind of this whisper for a couple months where you're just like, I'm hearing some stuff about Huss coming back, and people are like, I don't know, would he really leave to come back and be an assistant again? And they're like, well, what makes sense there? It's like, well, maybe he's been guaranteed he's going to get the head coaching job, and so you get these rumors. Creighton's a pretty small community, so you start hearing this stuff, and then all of a sudden, it comes true that he's named the head coach in waiting. As you kind of have been really close to this program and the coaching staff, like, first of all, like, were you caught off guard by this? Were you kind of hearing the rumors as well? Did you actually believe any of them as they're happening? Because, so often we hear things that don't ever come to fruition. But how did you process Huss coming back and kind of Greg McDermott getting his succession plan in place?
Typical Greg McDermott, like, classy fashion, I think. I'm not surprised that this happened because Greg McDermott would never leave this program in a spot where he didn't feel it would be best, and similar to what Cook just did. Yep. And I think this is an incredible move by the athletic department to bring Huss back, obviously, and promise that he will take over as head coach. We don't know the amount of years that will be. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. I don't know. But I would imagine it's, in that. Probably
3 or less.
Yeah, 3 or less for sure is, I think, fair to say. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I think
I was thrilled as a lifelong Creighton fan.
I'm thrilled.
I was thrilled because I love Huss.
Huss is awesome. Like, I got to work closely with him in 2021 when I actually worked with Creighton basketball as their team reporter, and Alan was beloved by the team. Yeah. Like, he was a player's coach of all, and just
great at his job.
Relatable,
great basketball mind.
He just gets it, and to already see his success at High Point, imagine what this guy can do at Creighton.
Super high-level recruiter with the resources.
With the resources of Creighton, like this.
Playing in the Big East.
He's set up for success here. I do remember after Creighton lost in the round of 32 in Lexington, I remember looking at Greg and being like, how much longer are you going to coach? Not because he looked old. Greg, you don't look that old. But I remember looking at him being like, how much longer is he going to do this? And I asked him a question to try to get him, not to necessarily allude to that, but I was like, hey, how much are you enjoying this right now? And how much fun are you having? Yeah. And he said hey, this is one of the most fun teams I've ever had. And, and after he said that, I'm like, okay, so maybe he is still really completely enjoying this and doesn't want to, retire and hang out with his family or whatever. But, it didn't come as a surprise now that I'm looking back and, I'm like, okay, how much longer is Greg, really going to want to do this and spend on the basketball court, because he's done quite a bit. And I think urgency is another good word to explain for Creighton basketball and what they want to accomplish in the next few years that they do have Greg, because they want to send this guy out on a high note. And Ty Davis even said to us earlier, he wants to take Greg McDermott out with the Final Four. Yeah. And national championship hopes, of course, you never know, but
if they make a Final Four, I think he retires.
Oh yeah.
If they make a Final Four this year or next year, I think he retires.
I think right.
Whatever the original plan was, I think if he makes the Final Four,
that's what I've thought as well. But I think if it's Sweet 16, I don't know. I really think he wants to get to a Final Four that has, eluded Creighton since, its entire history. But yeah, I'm not too shocked, but love the move of bringing back Huss again. A really just classy move by the athletic department.
And not the only move. So they basically have an entire new roster this year. And I know it's crazy to say, we just saw Ryan Kalkbrenner get drafted 34th overall by the Charlotte Hornets, in the NBA draft. And we saw, Stephen Ashworth and Jemiah Neal get summer league contracts, and this is a really, really good Creighton squad that we're coming off of here. Obviously, you've got the Elite Eight squad from a couple of years ago. You have Baylor Shireman, went in the first round last year. Top to bottom, just on paper, I look at this and I go, this might be the most talented Creighton roster I've ever seen. Because a lot of those other teams, you got to like 5 or 6 and you're like, hey, that's really good.
Yeah.
And then you kind of start falling down the page a little bit there. I look at this team and I go, they could play 12 guys and I'd feel okay about it.
I think this is easily the deepest team, but I
For
hesitate
sure.
because I've said that a lot of times.
and then they
end
play
up,
like 7 guys.
Yeah, they play like 7 guys, and then it doesn't end up being the deepest team. But I do think the depth this year will shine. But these guys also got to play well together.
They do, yeah.
So like you can have all the talent on paper you want, but like you got to put it together. And I think if anybody can put talent
That's
together,
a Greg McDermott special.
That's a
right
Greg
there.
McDermott thing. Like he will get the best out of you.
Absolutely.
He will, come up with different creative sets for you. He will find you a way to score the basketball. And I think that will be a really fun thing to see come together. And like Fedor Zugic getting 2 years eligibility is huge.
There is no bigger Fedor fan than I am. I love Fedor.
He's awesome. Jackson McAndrew, poised for a huge sophomore
That's
jump.
a dude that if you look at, and if you're looking at like NBA prospects, like Jackson McAndrew is a guy that I can't tell you how many times last year I just looked at whoever I was watching games with and I go, if he's 10% stronger, that works.
Yeah.
Like he would get by a guy on a dribble, get bumped off his spot, and I was like, if he's 10% stronger, which he will be this year, because they do a great job with their strength and conditioning programs.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like he will be everything. Like that dude is going to be really, really good. And he's sort of an afterthought because of all the transfers that came in.
I know.
Whether it's Owen Freeman or Josh Dix, which were kind of the headliners. But I'm telling you, like the guy outside of McAndrew, like Blake Harper is probably next on my list as like that's an NBA
6'8" guard.
That's an NBA player.
Yeah.
Like if that guy figures his stuff out, like he averaged 20 a game at Howard last year as a true freshman. That dude's an NBA player. And so this roster is kind of crazy. And it is. The thing that I'm excited about, and anybody that's listened to me talk about Creighton basketball for very long, is I get so frustrated with the tiny guards. Creighton's had so many times. And like I love Stephen Ashworth. I love him to death.
Austin Chapman was my dude.
Austin Chapman, Jahins Manigat, like all the Mo Watson, like all these guards that are just little guards. And they've been great for Creighton. But there's always a moment where it's like he can't defend that guy just because he'll just rise up and shoot over him, or he can't be physical enough at the point of attack, and he can't deter those passing lanes to get the ball into the big or whatever. There's a lot of length on this team at the perimeter. You mentioned Blake Harper, the 6'8" guard. I think their shortest guard is 6'3", which would have been their tallest guard.
Graves,
yeah, Graves is 6'3". You've got
Davis is 6'4".
Schwartz is 6'4". Harper 6'8". Dix is 6'6". Fedor 6'6". Like this is a Hudson Greer, the true freshman who we haven't even talked about, top 50 national recruit, Hudson Greer, 6'6" as a guard. Like this is a crazy deep and weirdly long team for Creighton. They usually don't have this much size.
And I've never seen them go so hard in the portal either.
Yeah.
Like, and Greg McDermott has always said, he's been very vocal about, when basketball doesn't become about the relationships to me, like I'm out. Like that's like kind of what he said. So he does go into the portal and get a lot of people, but what Greg's been really good at, I think, is getting high character people that will play in this program, for multiple years if they're allowed. I mean, if they have eligibility to.
I think everybody except Josh Dix is the only.
Yeah.
And maybe Graves. I think Graves is also a senior.
So 1 year, yeah.
But outside of those two guys, Harper, Freeman, Austin Schwartz, all those guys are multiple year transfers if they aren't going somewhere else, but they've got multiple years of eligibility.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what he does with this roster. Also, like starting 5, couldn't tell you.
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea. I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
I think Jackson McAndrew is going to start.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Josh Dix is going to start. And if I had to bet, I would bet Owen Freeman starts. But
beyond that, like
honestly, and I have no idea what the rotation is going to be. That's maybe the better question because, like I said, you could go. He's not going to go 12 deep. But you could go 10 or 12 deep on this team.
And I think a lot of people will be surprised by Jason Green this year.
I
think Jason Green takes a huge jump.
Miller
North
guy.
Like, I'm all on the Jason Green boat. Like the improvements that kid has made over his time is crazy.
You're gonna need a guy on the floor that doesn't need the basketball all the time.
Yeah.
Like with all the guys we named, like this team, they're not gonna have a problem scoring points. Stopping people, I don't know. But they're not gonna have a problem scoring points. But there's still only one basketball. You need a guy like Jason Green who doesn't need the ball all the time. That's a huge piece of, like, he's going to play way more minutes than anybody expects because they need that guy on the team.
No, Jason Green is one I think will surprise some people.
I love that dude.
I'll be very intrigued to see the steps that Zugic makes this year. Like what he adds to his game. I think everyone knows him for his perimeter shooting, but I think he has a really unique ability to get downhill too when people don't expect it.
That dude's a 3-level scorer.
Yeah, I think he's. I would agree. And we kind of saw it a little bit in his limited minutes.
And a better defender than he got credit for last year. Like he stayed in front of his guys always.
So that'll be fun to see him in his second year in NCAA basketball. Like you gotta think like this is his first year.
Yeah,
like
because he didn't
year
know he was going to play until January.
Yeah,
right. He was playing with scout team.
Yeah, he was playing on a scout
even...
team. So it'll be fun to see his growth too. But yeah, I think definitely keep an eye out for the guys that have been here at Creighton because I think their improvements will be interesting to watch out for throughout their careers too. I'm excited for those guys.
I've made the joke a couple of times. They might score 100 points a game. They might give up 99.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be the case. I think they'll figure out the defensive side of things. But
that's always the thing with the Greg McDermott teams is like how can I ask him every single year like what's your biggest challenge to the team, and he said always says defense. He's like, can we compete defensively in the Big East? Because that's the toughest thing. But yeah, that. If the defense is good, the offense will always be there. Honestly, I think on a Greg McDermott team, he could take me in their starting lineup and somehow make me an offensive threat like that.
If the defense is even average,
even average, like Greg McDermott is an offensive freaking guru,
and so is Huss, honestly.
And so is Huss,
like you put those guys back together with this amount of firepower.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you got both those brains working.
Yeah,
wow.
It's gonna be a ton of fun.